Hello and welcome. In this video, I will be comparing 1950s architect Harry Seidler with contemporary architect Kirsten Thompson and discuss their ability to reflect and expand on modernist design principles. So what does modern mean? The word modern refers to the present time, to look forward, not backward. In the context of design history, modernism describes the time period between the early and mid-20th century. Multiple countries and groups were associated with this movement, including the Bauhaus in Germany, Die Stil in Holland, Russian constructivism, and the Italian futurism of Italy. The first principles I'll be looking into with regards to my designers are truth to materials, elementary geometric form, functionality, and whether the designs are for good social change. I believe it is worthy to investigate the use of these principles in design today to understand if their work expresses and presents modern design principles, and if their work promotes the ideals of modernism and design for social change. Harry Seidler was born 25th of June 1923 and died 9th of March 2006 in Sydney. Seidler studied at the University of Manitoba in Canada from 1941 to 1944, and from 1945 to 1946 studied in Walter Gropius's class at Harvard University in the United States. In 1949, Harry Seidler opened his private practice in Sydney after the design and construction of his Rose Seidler house. First built for his parents, the ample site and a desire for maximum interior spatial interplay resulted in a hollowed-out square plan exposed on all sides. In 1966, Harry Seidler received an honorary fellowship from the American Institute of Architects in Denver, Colorado. Kirsten Thompson was born in Melbourne in 1965 and is the principal of Melbourne-based firm Kirsten Thompson Architects. Kirsten obtained her degree after studying at RMIT University in 1989. During her studies, Kirsten worked in the Milan-based studio Matteo Thun and Melbourne-based practice Robinson Chen. From 1990 to 1994, Thompson worked as a lecturer in architectural design at RMIT, after which she completed her master's in 1998. Kirsten Thompson was also one of the first women to win the Roman Boyd Award for her house at Hanging Rock in 2014. Harry Seidler's early designs, Rose Seidler House and Julian Rose House, exhibit excellent use of modernist principles of truth to materials and geometric forms. Truth to materials refers to the absence of false ornamentation and rather embraces a machine aesthetic. This principle pushes the idea that materials should reflect the true nature of the objects and buildings. This can be seen in the use of sandstone and bushstone in both the Rose Seidler House and Julian Rose House. Seidler celebrates the raw nature of stone without disguise of paint, sanding, or reshaping the stone. The sandstone and bushstone look as if they've been dug from the ground and cemented together to form these feature walls and fireplaces. The principle of elementary geometric forms refers to a design's use of geometric shapes and form. Modernist design rejects curvilinear and organic shapes, further relating back to the modernist drive for simple design. This is evident in the Rose Seidler House's floor plan. Being one of very square nature, the floor plan is divided by a series of rectangular and square rooms and passages. The simple floor plan creates a space that is easy to traverse. The Julian Rose House, being a building contained in the shape of a rectangle, perfectly exhibits this principle. The steel support structure surrounding the balcony makes great use of modern materials in a triangular pattern, while the steel rods utilize the shape for its simplicity and being the strongest shape in terms of a supporting structure. Similarly, Kirsten Thompson practices these same methods in a very similar way, although utilizing contrasting materials to Seidler. Kirsten Thompson's Woolamai house adheres to the principles of truth to materials and elementary geometric forms through the use of cinder blocks in the construction of the fireplace. Unpainted or plastered over, Kirsten rather reflects the true form of the material. This isn't the only example of this in her design either. Kirsten utilizes plywood sheets as her material for the interior walls of Woolamai house. The result of the plywood being unpainted or plastered over is a surface that is unpreserved or disguised. The act of painting the wood in this case would preserve the material and protect it from weathering. It's this weathering that I think allows us not only to witness what the material looks like in its pure form, but to see how it reacts and changes within its environment. The plywood in this case would start to show rub marks around light switches and patina over time. This provides an excellent example of a designer embracing true material, although motivated by a different desire than designers in the 1950s. In today's day and age, climate change provides a big motive for designers to use materials like plywood and cinder blocks for their sustainability, creating a more ecologically aware outcome. Kirsten's Woolamai house employs a square floor plan, much like Seidler's Rose house, that is divided into two rectangles for the living and toiletry spaces, while another square forms the living area. This is very similar to Seidler's designs in how they employ simple geometric floor plans to create an open environment that is easy to move about. Thompson's simple design layout makes for very geometric plans and elevations. From the floor plan all the way down to her use of rectangular cinder blocks to create a geometric fireplace, it is evident that the principle of elementary geometric shapes is being practiced. Although Kirsten makes use of corrugated iron, a naturally wavy and curved piece of iron sheeting, it is used to conjure a sharply angled and geometric shell for the house. The house itself is reminiscent of a triangle, completing a geometric design, further exhibiting perfect use of geometric form. Seidler and Kirsten's utilization of geometric layout gives birth to a space that is both easily accessible and functional. In 1950s, open floor plans were not common in Australia, although the strive for a more casual modern lifestyle was. During this time, Australia was portrayed as a young, modern and progressive country, with Seidler's Rose House perfectly encapsulating this spirit of the times. With the evolution of simpler floor plans and more glass, designers were afforded the opportunity to provide experience of being outdoors, with the convenience and comfort that comes with being indoors. With the development of technologies, Thompson achieves this same concept with an extreme approach. Kirsten's Woolamai house provides its users with the opportunity to open the house up to its surrounding environment through a modular wall system. This membrane wall acts as an insulator and system that can be used to create terraces where people can experience the functionality of being outdoors without having to leave the house. Seidler's design aims to achieve the same thing, although through exposing the interior to the outside with large walls of glass. This was considered to be quite revolutionary for the time and allowed users to experience the environment from inside. This use of glass proves to open the house up much more, improving the sense of space and light in the design. While both designers exhibit truth to materials they've chosen, it is possible they acted out of contrasting motives and designed for change. Being that Kirsten's design was constructed in 2008, it is more than likely that Kirsten put consideration into the sustainability of her materials. This is a result of contemporary society valuing the actions taken to preserve the planet. Climate change has become an increasingly concerning topic, with the designers striving for more ecologically inclined design, where Kirsten's design for change is seen. It is this idea of a sustainable world that provides designers today with the desire for social change. Although in the 1950s modernism and its appeal to functionality gave birth to much more literal changes in Australian society, with modernist designers giving birth to a whole new meaning of living and functionality. New and experimental design elements included new modes of living, like apartments. It was this rise in apartment living that gave birth to design for small spaces. This design for small spaces puts emphasis on efficient and effective uses of space, something that was becoming very prominent in design after World War II and during Australia's industrial and commercial expansion. Seidler perfectly captures this through his utilising an open plan style of living that allows for functionality and better use of space. Unlike Thompson being motivated by the desire for a healthier planet, Seidler's motivation sparked from the desire for a more casual and modern lifestyle. Australia's industrial and commercial expansion gave way to a huge development in technology that provided modernist designers with new mediums and materials. One of these new materials seen in the Rose Seidler house is steel. Seidler uses steel to create strong support beams and handrails, both of which were uncommon uses for steel at the time. Steel was more usually seen in the early stages of construction, where it was used for structural support. In conclusion, it is evident that contemporary designers still make use of the principles of modernism, although it's what motivates them that has changed. Kirsten Thompson's design demonstrates truth to materials, although with the motivation of sustainability. Her use of plywood in the interior walls for her Woolamai house and cinder blocks for the fireplace support this, whereas Harry Seidler's motivation for using his materials lie with the desire to use modern materials and provide a modern solution. It was Seidler's solution of simple layouts and functionality that reflect his idea of casual and modern lifestyles as a social change.